What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. I'm on my morning walk. It's like 6 something in the morning right now. Had to get up early because I've been inducted into my age group in the village, and just so happens that my age group is ascending into the next level today. So we have ceremonies that we have to perform where the older group welcome us into the next age group and they ascend to the next age group. It's a thing they do here where basically age groups is basically what it sounds like. Your age group, it's like a club of community. And they've been wanting me to join for quite a while. Matter of fact, they've been wanting me to join for like 7 years. But I finally joined the group. And they're very excited about that, so we're gonna party later. That's what we're gonna do. So that's what we're gonna do. So anybody saying that Africans don't accept us, they literally want me to be a part of their age group. I've been accepted all the way into the community. Like, not only am I a royal chief, I'm part of other groups. They want me included into their group, age group. And I like that. We should do that in America, age group thing. We should do that in America, right? It's a way that communities keep cohesion because they organize and they do stuff, right? And they have events and they talk to other age groups. And it's like a group of people around my age that, make sure things stay respectful and orderly and stuff like that. I'm telling you, there's all kinds of systems here that if you pay attention, you'd be like, damn, why don't we do that? Right? But that's not what this one is about. This video is about how black people are not intimidated or jealous of anybody else but other black people, and how that's used against us, right? And because I said this in my other video, my other walk yesterday, and one of the subscribers in the comment section said, hey, can you make a video and talk about that at the beginning, right? Because, a lot of people don't make it to the end of videos. Most people, they watch 3-4 minutes and they click off to something else. That's just how it works. I do the same thing. Right, so I said, okay, I shall do with that. All right. Now, if you notice, black people, right, in general, we are not intimidated, scared, truly afraid, or jealous of anybody else. There's nothing we're jealous of when it comes to like white folks, right? Let's just, because I got to think about this, right? I got to really think about this because I don't pre-plan. I don't write notes. It just comes out my mouth like a freestyle, like a 90s freestyle, not like 2000s freestyle where they write it down and call it a freestyle. I'm talking about where they actually come off the top of their head, right? So that's what I'm doing. That could have, funny. See, little kids going to school. I thought school was closed today because Buhari died yesterday. They said school was closed. Maybe some of the private schools are open. But black people, let's go with sports, okay? There's never been a time that a black person stepped on a basketball field and said, damn, those white folks, they're so good at it. They're so majestic. I'm so jealous of those white folks and their physical capability. There's never been a time where a black person got on a football field and saw even big, thick, beefy black white guys and be like, yeah, those guys are so big and strong and intimidating. No, when black folks are on the field with anybody else, our ego, our confidence, our godlike capability takes over. We have like a godlike mind, right, on earth. And we feel like we're the kings of our domain wherever we are, whenever we decide that that's where we're going to operate for that day. We feel like we're the kings of that domain. And if you ain't like us, ain't nobody scared or afraid of you. And we play like that. We play with 100% confidence. We perform with 100% confidence. My dog is following me. Check this out. Let me see. He's just right. Well, that's my OG dog right there. OG, my security. But, yeah. So when we get on the football field, right? No black person, it doesn't matter if that black person's 175 pounds and he's up against a big, huge, chunky European lineman that's like 325 pounds. In our mind, We're about to railroad that dude. We're gonna railroad him, or we're gonna enter the speed force, and then we're gonna outrun him, or we're gonna juke the shit out of him and make him break his ankles. That's how we're never intimidated by anybody else. Even if you look at the sexual marketplace, there is no black person. I'm talking about the ones that participate in the sexual marketplace, not like I'm talking about the ones that's really out there playing, right? When we go to a place and we dress up to the T and we're ready to compete with other men, with women, there is absolutely no other man that intimidates us. An African American, and I've witnessed this and I've done it myself, that's how I know it. We will go to a country and dominate the society within that sexual marketplace, arena. I've witnessed African Americans in Malta, right? It's a country called Malta, right? Where the people there are kind of like, is it in the Mediterranean? The people there are kind of like Arab, Greekish looking type of people, right? Right? We would go there and take over. I've watched African Americans, and including Africans, continental Africans and Caribbeans, because we're all together in the military, right? We will go to a club and be like, you know what? And this not, keep in mind, we're in a whole nother country. Most of us never been there. We'll go take over the DJ booth and take the entire club over. I've watched us do that because we felt like the vibration of the club wasn't high enough for us. And all the women come from everywhere. And we do take everybody else's women. That is a thing that black people do, right? We did it in Japan. We'll go to Japan, to a whole nother country with a whole nother set of men. And just the males are black men in our overwhelming dominant presence, right? It makes all the women gravitate towards us, right? Because when women, they looking at, like in nature, right? The female always looks for the male that's the strongest, that looks like it can protect, that looks like it's the dominant. That's just what they naturally do. So anytime a black man is involved or gets there, the woman always gravitates towards the black man every time, right? And that causes a problem with the local men because they cannot compete. They don't have the gravity. They don't have the strength. They don't have the energy. You understand? They can't compete no matter what. Now, before the black person showed up, right, those men in Malta or Japan only had to measure themselves up with each other. If you look at movies, right, where they show their masculine men compared to each other, you can have a guy that's considered big, strong, and powerful, right? They have their levels, their leagues of big, strong, and powerfulness within their own male group. But when the African American comes, it changes everything because they're no longer in competition. They become minor leagues compared to our major league prowess, right? So we black men, we walk around with this sense of entitlement, right? Which we are entitled to because by nature, I mean, come on. It's not like we're lying. That's the energy we come off. That's who we are, right? And so we end up going to other people's countries and taking their women every single time, right? Because globally, the black man, and this is just the truth, the black man, and specifically, if you want to go higher, the African-American man, right, is the most desired man on the planet to women. That's the truth. Whether it be a lustfulness, which is something that is natural within women to lust. That's just a biological mechanism to get that woman to procreate with that man to produce superior offspring, right? That's because that's just what we are, right? They'll lust over us. Plus, in the African Americans' case, we treat our women very well compared to other men. A lot of other men are insecure about their status as strong men, and they overcompensate by beating their women, about being overly aggressive to their women, right? But African Americans specifically, we don't have to do that because we're so dominant. There's no need. And I'm not talking, we do got some men, black men, African American men that do that type of shit. But I'm talking about in general, African Americans, we're so damn dominant that we don't mind our women talking shit. We're like, whatever, what you gonna do? Right? We don't need to beat them. Like, what you gonna do? We're gonna lay this steel down on you later, and then you're gonna shut up. Right? Because that's what we're gonna do. Right? Right, Carter? So the black man and the African man also, like the modern African man who's, he's doing the same shit. Right? I see African man. Do you see the confidence of an African man, right? So not only do we have this natural confidence, we also got the natural power to go with it. We got the natural speed to go with it. We got the natural scientific mind to go with it, right? Look at all the greatest fighters in the world, African Americans, because we got the greatest style, but the greatest fighters in the world are African people, period. African people. Everywhere we go, in every league, we dominate. Everywhere we go. And there's so many of us too. So it's not just that we dominate, but we're a small group of people. We dominate and we're the majority at the same time. Right? In boxing. Right now we're about to have a fight coming up September 11th. I think it's September 12th. We're the best fighter in the world, Terrence Bud Crawford against Canelo. All right? Canelo's about to get his ass whooped. Right? Just like this weekend, the Mexicans got their ass whooped by the black people again. And boxing is a great representation of real life because the black man overwhelmingly dominates in boxing to the point to where, you know, the boxing industry works against the black man, right, in every which way possible, and get upset that we're so good that we don't dumb ourselves down to give the other guy a chance. For instance, Stevenson just fought Zepeda, I think that's his name, this weekend. And before the fight, they were complaining that Stevenson runs too much. Shakur Stevenson, I think he's from Philadelphia or New Jersey. I always mix them, but I think he's from Philly, right? Stevenson is so good, right, that they get mad at him for not allowing the other fighter to hit him. They say he run. That's what they like to say with African-American fighters when they're so good. They say we run, but we're not running. We're beating the shit out of them, and we're using angles because in our mind, scientifically, we're a lethal weapon. In our heads, our spatial awareness is beyond anybody else's comprehension. Okay? Like completely and totally. So it's just, they don't know what to do. So it's not just our twitch muscles, it's our twitch brains, right? The way they can't compete. We don't allow people to hit us and we beat the shit out of them, right? So they did a thing where they made the ring smaller so that the Mexican guy, right, who's supposed to be one of the best fighters, like the dude, I thought he was undefeated, right? He was knocking everybody out, right? But they knew him going up against the black guy, they needed to give him an advantage. So they made the ring smaller, right? And they pressured Shakur Stevenson to not be so good. They call him boring because he doesn't get hit. So Shakur did something this last weekend that I knew he could do, right? But he did it to prove a point. He dumbed himself down and stood there instead of using his dynamic range, his dynamic motion. He stood there and allowed the Mexican to hit him, right? So that he can have a chance in a fight, right? But you know what happened? He beat the shit out of the dude anyway, right? Now I wouldn't, and he got hit more than I, would have liked. And even his mentor, Terrence Bud Crawford, said, I didn't like how he allowed himself to get hit. He allowed himself to get hit. African Americans are such good fighters, right? And keep in mind, you being able to fight is the definition of masculinity. Like, that's just the law of nature, right? The buck that can whoop the other buck's ass gets all the bitches. That's just the truth, right? Right? They dominate, they control, they run shit, right? So Stevenson beat the shit out of this dude, right? And all the Mexicans was quiet, right? Because what can they say, right? And so this is a sport where the white male and the Spanish male, they are not allowed to be overwhelming dominant figures or icons because the black man is always the king of the hill, always. So Spanish people do steroids and get caught all the time. But they always let it go and they never make a big deal out of it because Spanish people need steroids in order to compete with black people. Right? But if a black person, does steroids, they're gonna massacre him. They're in the media. They're gonna rip him apart because I dare you, black person, do something like what the Mexicans do because they need it. Not you black people, right? Even in bodybuilding, right? Who dominated when black people started getting involved with bodybuilding? What was it, Jerry Combs or Combs? I forgot his first name, but Combs. He dominated. No white guy can beat him. And if you notice in bodybuilding, in order to have your muscles pop out and look, as, luscious, in order for their bodies to look muscular, they tan themselves. They got to make themselves look black and intimidating. That color is intimidating, right? But when Combs came out, and a few other black African Americans or Africans in general got involved in bodybuilding, guess what? We dominated. There was just no way that European can get the muscles necessary to defeat that black guy. That's just what it is, right? Also, let's talk about acting. Who are the most iconic actors in history? Even when it comes to art. Denzel Washington. Name me a white actor that gravity is higher than Denzel Washington. You can't. Then there's many legendary European actors, right? But name me one. You can't. You can't name one. And there's many African American actors and African actors who gravity when it comes to performing the art of theater can't be touched because of how we protrude our energy, how we articulate a dramatic situation. They can't mess with us. Even when it comes to science, they hide what they're intimidated by. Who can mess with us when it comes to scientific discovery? Yes, there are a lot of Europeans now who, because of the suppression of African people and the monies that they've gained from suppressing us and stealing our foundational scientific discoveries, have created many good things. A lot of Europeans have invented many great things, right? But when you compare it to what it is we created and the foundation of most of these scientists that we created, there's no one that can compete with us. Look at the greatest feat Europeans ever claimed to have the greatest civilization that they point at as their foundation for their society, the Greeks. They know, and we know, that the Greeks were just African students. Their entire culture, everything about them was African, right? Everything about them, everything they learned is all African stuff, right? Even down to those columns. If you look at Washington, D.C., right? Washington, D.C., and every other major European capital, you're going to see a monument. You're going to see an obelisk, right? Which is, a tekken, right? It's a tekken. It's a penis. There's a big pointy stick, right? That's actually a penis. That's a black man's penis. So even the white man in his most powerful geopolitical locations around the world represent raw power with the black man's penis. The black man's penis. You must have a black man penis in your capital to represent your power. So anytime you go to Washington, D.C., and you see the monument, Washington Monument, no, that's a big ass black man penis. That's what it is. Okay? So black people in general, when we walk on the street and we walk past white people, we feel zero intimidation. We're not scared of anybody. What we are afraid of is a gun, which is not a person. Because we know a gun can nullify nature. And that anti-nature weapon, projectiles, which is the equalizer that white people use in order to be powerful. They use weapons. That's why, if you notice, they do everything. They spend all their intellectual capital creating death and destruction from a distance. Because when they get up close, they shrivel up and get weak. Right? Now, there are other intimidating groups of people on the planet. Very few that we respect. But the ones that we do respect are the Samoans. Right? The original Hawaiians, who are, in fact, our brothers anyway. I mean, I understand. Some big boys, right? And they have also the same level of raw that we have, right? And it's probably the only place on the planet. It's the only place on the planet that a black person will go and probably get their ass whooped and admit that they're going to get their ass whooped, right? But you got to put that one in context. Because the only black people that go to Hawaii and meet these big boys are military men, military African Americans who are of a certain size. They're not in their weight class. We're talking about men that are at the most, maybe 200 pounds, 230 at the most, right? Dealing with men who are naturally 3-something big. Now, of course, I always say I got utmost respect for those big boys, right? But at the same time, they make weight classes for a reason, right? So all we have to do is go get our big boys. You see, them Samoans, right, as big and strong as they are, as tough and badass as they are, let them go to Florida and mess with them Zoe boys. It's going to be a whole nother game. So then nature will put them big boys back in their place, right, underneath us, because they ain't messing with them Florida boys, because they big too. 3+, 6 foot something, big meat hawk hands, right? And if you want to go further, let's go to Senegal. Ain't nobody messing with them. Ain't nobody messing with them. So we got an answer and a solution to all problems just within our group, because that's how big and massive we are. That's just what it is. So, like I said, black people are not intimidated by anybody. But let me explain how it's used against us, right? So in society, we allow other people to participate in our events. And we look at them, oh, look at you visiting. Oh, that's cute. So when you see white people come to the club, white people come to black events, Asian people come to the club, Asian people come to the events, Indian people come to the club, Indian people come to the events, and they participate, whether they're rapping, dancing, whatever. And we look at that, we're like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, get in there. We're going to gas you up because we want to see you ascend. We want to see how high you can get. Can you reach the mountaintop of what it is, this energy that we're producing? Can you do that, right? That's what we want to see. And we enjoy it, right? We enjoy that. There's no intimidation factor, right? But when it comes to another black person, the only people we're intimidated by are other black people. So that's why all of a sudden you see these African Americans who are usually overwhelmingly dominantly confident about themselves, right? Because of, we are warriors over here. We're overwhelmingly dominant and confident. And we do know that we are the American culture. American culture is us. You take us away from, you take the African Americans culture out of America, what do you have? Fish and chips. Fish and chips and Mormons, okay? That's what you got, honestly, right? So now we're in a situation to where we are now being reintroduced to our family, our other black, brothers and sisters. And we have not had that level of competition within our societies in quite a while. And now we do. And we're having a hard time. Some of us are having a hard time processing it. And the ones of us that's having a hard time processing it are the weaker minded groups of us, right? The ones that's not so strong. The ones that don't really compete within the African American community themselves because they're not the top tier. You understand? So they're already in, these ones are the ones that's intimidated by the other African Americans. They're not, because not all African Americans protrude that level of energy, or not all African Americans can recognize that they have it. They don't know how to use it, right? So here comes these Africans, these Nigerians, right? And all of a sudden you looking at somebody that look like you, but he got an accent. He got a different little swag, but it's still familiar, uncomfortably familiar. But there's no way they can put their finger. They can't quite put their finger on it. The guy got the same swag as you, got the same muscles as you, got the same everything as you. So now you're intimidated. Now is a problem. Now when they participate, they're stealing it from you. They're taking it from you. They're trying to replace you. Now you got real competition in the jungle. And so now the weaker members of us, they're intimidated and they're crying out, calling foul, because they're used to living in a country where they can walk around being overwhelmingly dominant and powerful, right? They're used to being in society where they can, if there are no guns involved, no equalizers involved, they can walk around and just be as intimidating as possible, just towering over all people. Even our short African Americans tower over a 6'7" anybody else, right? But let one of our 5'5" Central Africans come over here, huh? Now you got competition because he's towering over everybody else too. So we just have to, adjust ourselves that, hey, there's more black people than just our little 44 million or 55 million in America. We are a small size, a small sample of a greater group of people. And we are, in fact, West Africans. And the reason why a lot of these hateful African Americans who are xenophobic, the reason why they're so vocal about their vitriol is because they're jealous. They're just jealous. They're intimidated. For the first time, here's this mofo participating in our events. You see, African American culture is African culture in America. That's the thing. So if African people participate in African American culture, what's happening is African American culture is being reinforced by its root, is being rejuvenized by its root, is being energized by its root, is receiving nutrients from its root. You see, when African people join African Americans, it reinforces us. It layers extra armor over top of us. But some people don't see it that way. They see it as replacement. You can't be replaced by yourself. And that's what I'm here to tell you. There's no need to be intimidated by a Nigerian, by a Ghanaian, by any African, because that's you. It's a compliment to you. That's exactly what it is. It's a compliment. You should feel happy that you're being reinforced by your brothers and sisters. You should feel happy that those black-eyed peas that you've been eating that you say is African-American culture is really just called white beans over here. You think you eat black-eyed peas on the New Year's, but that's something that was created in America. What you don't know is they do that here in Nigeria. That's where you got it from. You think you eating okra and tomatoes is an African-American thing. That's part of African-American cuisine culture. But what you don't know, that's a Nigerian thing. That's where you got it from, Africa. You think your soul food is African-American culture, African-American queen, invented and designed through hardship and pain. You think that you eating chitlins and pig feet and hog maw. You think somebody convinced you that the reason why you ate that is because the white man gave you the scraps. But what you don't know is we Africans don't waste food, and we've always eaten those chitlins and pig feet and hog maw and fat back and scrapple. That's not something that we used to throw away. That's white people. So when they threw us them things that they called scraps, that wasn't scraps to us. That's how we knew how to cook it, and that's why we know how to make it taste good. So no, African American food is not a result of throwing away bits of the animal. African American food is African food. It's how we eat because we respect the animal. Just like Native Americans, they respect the animal and they eat all of it. There are many people eating chitterlings around the world because many of the melanated people around the world respect the animal and they dare not kill an animal and waste any of it. Only white people do that. They will kill a buffalo, thousands and thousands of buffalo, only to take the pelt and leave all the meat there and wonder why they starve to death. Think about it. They're the ones who's anti-nature and don't know what to do with it. We respect nature and always know what to do with it. You don't kill something and just take a piece of it. If you kill something, you respect that animal and you use every bit all the way down to the bone to sew your clothes. So yeah, all of African American culture is African culture. From them locks that we like to wear. What you don't know is Nigerians wear locks. The warriors of Nigeria, of the many different kingdoms, wore locks to go into war. These were intimidating. The original word for dreadlocks is because the Europeans dread the warriors who wore their hair long like this. This was a symbol of intimidation. You ever notice how scared white people are with black people with locks? You ever notice that white society always tries to stop our black boys and black girls from wearing locks? It's because when they see it, something inside of them says warrior. And the last thing they want to have to deal with is a warrior, whether it be a female or a male. So understand, when you wear locks, you are scaring them because you're reminding them that you're a warrior. And you're declaring that you're a warrior when you wear those locks. Understand that. So we got to stop letting the Europeans use the fact that we are now, because we're being reintroduced to ourselves. Right? And when you reintroduce yourself to yourself, Just like you see an animal in the forest who's never looked at his own reflection, sometimes there's a visceral reaction. And we have to step outside of our emotions and understand we're having a visceral reaction, right? But we need to control it and understand that that person that you are intimidated by is here for you, here to support you, here to back you up. And you know the most dangerous thing about Africans, this is what they really want to stop. You see, the white man is losing their population. When you lose the population, you lose control and power over your vote. That's why white institutions in America are currently right now trying to gerrymander their elections so that they only need fewer and fewer white people to control more and more land, because African people are starting to spread out. Our population in America is growing. Do you know how our population is growing? Our population is growing because African people are coming to reinforce us. The Caribbeans are coming to reinforce us. You see, there's 55 million African Americans, roughly, conservatively, because I do believe there's a hell of a lot more of us here. Because if you notice, every state, there's always some black guy that you see in every state. We're all over the place. And apparently our little 12% of America's population has such an impact, we can stop shopping at any corporation, and all of a sudden that corporation starts to go bankrupt. I didn't know that 10% of your income could affect you that way. You understand? You'll get that? I didn't know 10% of your population boycotting a multinational corporation could affect you that way. So the money says there's more of us than they want to admit, right? But see what happens when African people come to, hey, so cute. Anyway, when Africans come to America, they get married to African Americans. That union is deadly to Europeans, because that means that the 55 conservatively million African Americans are now being stitched back together with conservatively 1.4 billion other Africans. And when you stitch them back together, that comes with things. That comes with economic leverage. That comes with people like me being able to come to places like this, being integrated into society, becoming successful, and being able to bring more African Americans over here to reap the benefits of our God-given resources, our inheritance, and taking it over there to leverage ourselves in America. It means that we can continue to grow our population in America with a fresh set of genetic admixture. You see, Europeans in America are the most inbred Europeans in the world. They're the second most inbred group of people in the world, outside of Pakistan. Pakistan is inbred because they marry their cousins religiously, culturally. So that causes issues, right? They're not the only group to do it, but they do it in Pakistan, like religiously. That's what you do, marrying your cousin, right? But outside of that, Europeans, right, and Europeans globally are becoming more and more inbred and genetically mutated because they don't have any other outside genetic gene pool to add to their admixture. Because most of these Europeans are related, right? You can't separate yourself in such small numbers globally and expect over time to be able to reproduce. It's just impossible. It's biologically impossible, because at some point you're going to get back to your first cousin. You see, African Americans, we don't have to worry about that. Now, if we did not unite with our brothers and sisters, right, from the continent, because the thing is, the Caribbeans are literally our cousins. All of us got family in the Caribbean, because what a lot of uneducated African Americans don't know is that almost every African American our ancestors started out in the Caribbean, and the Caribbean were brought over here. Then there was an inter-American slave trade where they would send Africans from the mainland, which is North America, to the Caribbean, and from the Caribbean to South America, from South America to the mainland, North America. It would go back and forth like that. So because of that, literally South American Africans, Caribbean Africans, and North American Africans are legitimately the same group of people. We are family. If everybody did their DNA in the Western Hemisphere, you would see that you got third and fourth cousins in the Caribbean and all that stuff. Akaro. You would see that you have third and fourth cousins in the Caribbean. You would see that you have third and fourth, fifth cousins in South America. You would realize, if you ever got to see the big picture, that your family is over here. You see, when they took a whole village, right, they split the families up in the Caribbean. Some would stay in Jamaica, some would be in North Carolina. Some would stay in Brazil, some would end up in Georgia, right? Sisters, brothers, twins. So that's how it operated. So when you say African American, you got to understand America is a continent. Every African person in the Western Hemisphere are African Americans. And only a person who have a low self-esteem will believe that that takes anything away from the activities and accomplishments of the North American African. We are clearly defined on the world stage. I mean, there's no group of people on the planet as famous as us. Our legend will never disappear. We will go down in history, all right, with the greatest of warriors, with the greatest of stories. And there's no doubt about it. Our legacy is secured 100%. We never have to worry about it. The only people who don't realize that have an insecurity about blending in with the greater society of African people. That's the thing about it. Just like the Haitians will never be forgotten about the things that they did. They will always go down in history, period. But another difference is we African Americans, we are a nation from within a nation. The Caribbeans, they have land, they have those nations secured, right? And we should be happy that despite 400 years of terror, that us black people and our cousins, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean were at least able to secure some real estate on behalf of the African people on the Western Hemisphere. That belongs to us. That's not going anywhere. That's good. That means strategically we're holding ground. We're holding real estate. If we play a monopoly, we got a good chunk of the board, if you understand what I mean, right? So you should never feel jealous about anything that your brothers and sisters do. Like if you pay attention to the Olympics, right? When the Jamaicans and the African Americans are competing and the Jamaicans are kicking our ass, guess what? We still getting first and second place either way. I celebrate, and if you notice, we all kind of just be celebrating. It's kind of like a game to us. While the rest of the world, athletes are spending 4 years trying to figure out how to beat a black man, right? While they're while they're on an epic journey to just try to be the superior athletic being, right, by defeating a black man, we're just training and having a good time and kicking ass because it's just what we do, right? So when the Summer Olympics come along, right, we're dominating almost every goddamn event. It's a Jamaican, it's a Ghanaian, it's a Nigerian, it's an African American, and we're just back and forth, kicking ass and taking names and still celebrating together. And guess what? After Olympics, all of these guys are partying together. All of them, all the Caribbeans, all the African Americans are partying together and celebrating the fact that they have secured dominance over the world and reminded everybody else who's the most dominant being on this planet. They had to create a whole Winter Olympics so they had something to do. Think about it. And if we get involved in the Winter Olympics, if we were serious about the Winter Olympics as we are about the real Olympics, we would dominate that too. Every sport we get involved in, we dominate. If we want to play chess, we're going to dominate. It doesn't even have to be physical. Anything we decide to do as black people, we dominate when we take it seriously. That's the truth. Now, African brothers and sisters, our Senegalese big boys, just figured out, hey, let me come over here and do this MMA thing. Dominating. That's why, if you not noticed, Europeans keep on making fighting sports. Every time they get drowned out of fighting sports because of African people, what do? They make another fighting sport, right? And then they go over there. And then what do? We say, oh, we can participate in that. We go over there and we go dominate over there. They can't run away from us. They keep trying to run away from us by making different leagues, making different sports, doing different things. And we keep following them and dominating and dominating and dominating and dominating. And that really pisses them off because they would like to have a white champion, a white big dog, the great white hope. But they can't, there's nothing but hope. As long as we continue to participate, there's nothing but hope. And the problem is there's so many of us, we flood the zone. So I just need y'all to take You know, just take a look at the world and see what's happening. Realize you ain't got to be jealous of your brothers. Now, we can compete because we're the only people who can compete with each other, right? But we can't let them do, because Europeans are good at one thing: manipulation. Loki is their true nature. And if they can't beat you physically, they can beat you psychologically. They have those powers. They can beat you. They can get you and pit you against your brothers and sisters. They can get you to fight your brothers and sisters on their behalf. They can get you to cause animosity and be xenophobic in the open because they can't be racist in the open. Because guess what? We show up at your house. Look what happened in New York when them Latinos attacked one of our black sisters, right? Now, even though the Diaspora wars is going on, that sister, we don't know if she was Jamaican. We don't know if she's Trinidadian and Haitian. And when you saw those black men go out there, when you saw the black people go to the apartment and tell them Latinos to come on outside, do it now. You don't know who you saw that Pan-African flag. Out there was Caribbeans and African Americans, and you couldn't tell the difference. And at that moment, we didn't give a fuck. And when you saw down there in Georgia, when that white man attacked that black guy and that black boy jumped out of that water and went down there and we started whipping ass, did you see the Diaspora war? Did you see anybody say, "Oh, is that a Jamaican?" Because if that's a Jamaican, I'm not involved. Did you see anybody care about race? I mean, about ethnicity? Nah, because when push comes to shove, us black people, we unite when it counts. And that's the truth. And you should see the true nature of it. Did you not see the whole African world stand up with us at that moment? Do you not see the African people standing up with us in that moment? Do you know how that scares them Europeans? That 1.4 billion African Americans, Africans all in lockstep with Africans when it comes to fighting their common enemy, despite the issues that they have? Did you not see that? So yeah, they see it. And when we get activated, we don't see ethnicity. We don't see none of that shit. We get right on target. That's what they're afraid of. And you need to understand it. And they're going to do everything they can. And those rich, cowardly ass billionaires are going to push the algorithm of every one of the low vibrational members of our societies that have no problem throwing their community under the bus. Because they want to make it look like black people don't like each other. They want to make it look like black people hate each other. They want us to hate each other. They want us to divide ourselves apart. They spent 400 years doing it. And it's all unraveling within 60 years. Do you understand that the acceleration of black excellence is going so fast they can't keep up because their twitch muscles ain't fast enough. Their techniques don't work no more. Because African people, we liberated ourselves from slavery. Don't ever let them think that white people did shit for us. We literally fought. The way the Haitians fought, beat the shit out the French. We beat the shit out of them white Europeans here in this country. Ourselves with our guns. And it wasn't for us. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have won that war. We had to get in there and do it ourselves. And we kicked their ass because we're gods of war. We did it ourselves. When we get active, ain't nobody can stop us. But we got to be smart and understand that nature always balances. And the balance is that European has wit. That European will use our strength against us. And they have done so successfully. It's time for us to get our wits about us, get back in our frame, and unite. And we don't accept any members of our community because of their low-level town way of thinking, their low-level circle orbit of thinking, to stop the unification. We don't tolerate disunity in African culture, no matter where that African culture is, period, because we are at war. And we're this close to winning. So we need to maintain our discipline. We got to get strong. We need to fight. We need to unify. And we will, in fact, win the day. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.